Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It's been quite some time where I haven't been making videos. I was quite busy, was away for 2 weeks for work, and there was Easter, but we're back after a long time, and we'll be taking a look at something that I saw that was searched up quite a bit, which is a multiplayer guide. How to play Beyond All Reason multiplayer. So I will not be getting into metas, tactics or anything like that. I will just be displaying some basic information that you need to know before joining any multiplayer lobby so you can have a pleasant experience. So I am loaded up in, I think, one of the most played maps out there, Supreme. And to be exact, this is version 2.1 by Nikusis. Shout out to him. So, when you will play your first match on multiplayer, on PvP, you will be instructed, sometimes by the games, but not always, to start on certain positions, but definitely by your teammates. These positions in this particular map consist out of 5 categories, if I'm not mistaken. 2 frontline positions, right here. I'll go into what they are. I'll put a fat F for frontline. Positions right here, which is usually, I'd say, the tech position. One position right here is always Navy. Air. Come on. Eco. And last, well, not really. And last but not least, we have the, well, how can I call them? Oh, my drawings are being erased. Anyway, probably also flex positions. Now, why am I telling you this? Because when you start your first game, you want to play one of these positions in the Supreme Estimates. These are the frontline positions. They're the least complicated ones, but always play a crucial role. And what you basically do, come on, is you need to defend this front line, this choke point. It will not be like this in every map. You will have different area to cover. We also look at some other popular maps, like for example All That Glitters, but there will always be some area that you need to protect your teammates from. Now, the reason frontline is such a good position is that you don't carry too much responsibility in form of, if you don't do your job, the game is screwed, and also isn't that hard to actually like, you don't need to know any metas to really play this position, but it also has quite some power in it. If you're a good frontliner, you might win a game really early. Now, once you've actually made your build, right now I have no cost on, so it won't be like this, but let's say for example you've built your stuff, you'll make a nice little lab and start pumping out units. Now, these are the frontline position. Now then we have the tech position. This tech position, I think, is mostly for Supreme Estimates. This position usually goes for T2 and sells T2 to their teammates. You build your geothermal. Once you start playing some multiplayer games, especially on this map, you will understand how this position works. Navy positions, I think, are pretty straightforward. You go into the Navy. You fight usually against this player right here. You brawl it out, and hopefully you can win. So you can bring your ships right here and start bombarding the enemy. Otherwise, the enemy will bring his ships right here and start bombarding your allies. Now, other positions, or the other position, which I think is well, not that straightforward. You need to start building up an air force, protect from incoming bombing runs, and if you find a nice opportunity to do a bombing run yourself, you can always do that, but usually it's a higher priority to protect your teammates, so that is what is expected from you. This is the eco position. Usually what this position does is go into tech, but he doesn't hand out usually he tries to go directly into T3, get some fusion reactors up, get some aphysis up. This is your late game guarantee. And the last two positions, I call them flex positions because they have options. This position right here can either tech as well or go frontline. There are even some place where he goes into C, and the same goes for this position where he can go into C from here, he can go into C from here, or he can not go into C at all, which is usually not advised unless he's planning to find a way to take back C, for example with ducks. But that isn't always the case. So like, you have options, but the best would be, especially in the beginning, to not try to do too extreme strategies. Now when it goes to your teammates, always try to be cooperative with your teammates, try to communicate. The reason is that the other reason is a very team kind of game, meaning that let's say you build a nice little T2 lab. Oh wait, I need a constructor right here. And you have built your T2 lab and you can make T2 constructors. If your mate over here does not have a T2 lab, it would be nice if you have the time and resources to hand him a T2 metal extractor. Why? Because it will save him from needing to transition into T2 and then building an actual T2 constructor on a T1 economy. Now, if your teammate has that T2 bot lab and you don't have the constructor, always feel free to ask for a constructor. It never hurts. Usually, if you have good teammates or well, nice teammates, they will be able to give you one, and this will save you a lot of time. The same goes with other things that you don't have yourself. For example, shurikens start attacking your units. What do? Ping air. It is the best way. People are not always 24/7 looking around the map, even if it's kind of the air player's job. People do get distracted, do work on their base. Just give them a little ping. Don't spam ping. The more you make the experience pleasant for your teammates in terms of communicate, the more they will want to help you with your problem. So that's that about that. In terms of how to play. Also, let's say for example, let's take here. I'll select all my, wait, I don't remember how to select all my units. Give me a second. Split army. Select all units is E. Okay. Let's say you have nothing left. Everything you have died. Maybe you have a constructor. Everything else is dead. What do? So there are multiple options. First option is to resign. There will be a button up here. Now that's kind of the dumb option. The option that someone would do who doesn't really want to be in the game anymore. I think the only reason to do that is if you understand that the game is clearly lost and you just don't think it's winnable. Now, the second thing you should always prefer over resigning and quitting is to ask a teammate for units. For example, your teammate here has T3 and is also scaling his economy. So you can either just leave or ask him, hey, you know, you're managing your economy, but while you're managing your economy, your T3 units up here are getting massacred. You could give me some of those units so I can micro them, and you can just focus on the economy and scaling. Which is very amazing, because you just have an extra person and you don't go to waste. Trust me, it's always a help to have people managing your units, especially if you're good at micro. It is really appreciated. So someone could have, let's say, 20 Shivas rolling out to the lab, and you would be able to manage those units and make a lot more out of them than your teammate who has to manage a lot more stuff. And that's it about this map. Let's hop right into the next map. And here we are again, this time in the second favorite map, I think, close behind Supreme Estimus, I'm not sure though, is All That Glitters, also by Nekusis. And this map has not quite a similar playstyle, but there are still the positions. There are the 4 frontline positions, and then there is air position, eco position, and 2 flex positions. Now, I'd advise you, if you're able to choose positions as a new multiplayer player, choose one of these 3 positions. The reason is this is quite a tough position. It's in a kind of disadvantageous location, so yeah, always try to avoid it. Even though there have been some recent balance changes, what used to happen was there was a 3.2 and a 3.2 here, and usually the player on the open side would get them. Now your 3.2 has been moved back, but I think it's easier to work in this line because you always have more cooperation, you can work better. If you need support, I think even better, the best position for a new player is right here. I'll make a little star. So when you load up, it works same principle. You go in, take your maxes, start making units, and always try to avoid leaving any of your responsibility in terms of leaking units. Units that means going past the defense, for example. Let's say some ticks go by, you all know what kind of menaces they are, and they start attacking your eco player. He will not be happy, and pretty much rightfully so, because his job is to make economy for the late game. Your job is to defend while he's doing that. So while this is happening, you should be making units. Now the way maps work is you usually take what's on your lane, meaning between frontline players it is split something like this. Maybe this isn't really that bad. Can't remember how to delete things. Control. Oh, come on. Ah, well. Okay, I disabled it. It goes something in these lines. Whatever. If you try to take some maxes from the other player, he'll be upset. And depending on what kind of player, he will maybe ask you to give it back, which you can do. Oh, come on. which we can do by going to his name. This is not visible right now. There will be some kind of exchange arrow. I'll be projecting it right here on the screen. And by double clicking that arrow, you will be giving all selected units to that player. So avoid taking other people's maxes. If people take your maxes, what you should do. Important, this is also for moderation purposes, in order to be able to know what to do in case of someone playing in a way that isn't really a very team game. Let's say someone has taken your max. This max is an enemy max. No, not an enemy max, a friendly max, an ally max, but it should actually be on yours. What you should do is, first of all, ask for him to give it back. If he doesn't give it back, ask again a bit more, well, not harshly, a bit more direct maybe. If he still insists that he doesn't want to give you a max, you can pause the game, try to solve it. If this doesn't help, please do not try to do something of sorts like this. Degunning the max, building your own. Why? This is considered griefing, and griefing is punishable by the law, meaning you will get moderate for this. So if you do this, this is no good. What you should actually do is, after the game, report him. Report him, say for what reason. For example, he took resources that were on my side of the map that were mine. This is actually an article in the code of conduct. Usually check that, definitely check that out before joining into multiplayer matches. And then don't worry, our moderation team, like the moderation team of Beyond All Reason, is really good. They'll take a look at it and decide whether it's actually something that needs to be punished. But let's say you have your maxes or your whatever building you want to have. Let's make some buildings right here to simulate my case. You have your buildings, and then you have your constructor, and then you have right here, you have your aphises. 4 nice juicy aphises. And your friend, your teammate, because he lost his lane and is kind of not so happy with what is happening, well, he doesn't really want you having those 4 aphises. And let's imagine my commander is from right here, and he's slowly marching towards here, and you realize, based on what he has said or based on his previous actions, that what he actually wants to do is, well, disintegrate them. What you should do, preferably, is pause the game. Pause the game can either be done by pressing the pause key on your keyboard, which is located on the right of your main keyboard and on the left of your number pad. If you don't have it, don't you worry. You can also do that by going into the chat, pressing /pause,
game pause,
and the game will pause. And then you can also do pause again to unpause the game. During the pause, you want to resolve why he's doing it, and if you see that he just wants to do it and there's no way to avoid this behavior, you should kick ban him. Don't be afraid to use this tool. It is not bad. It is intended to prevent this kind of behavior. But let's say you didn't notice, or you didn't have time, or he unpaused, and what he does is this. Well, in this case, there's only one solution again. Report him. It's the easiest thing. You just go to the website, you just press on him, press report, write a little report about what happened. Also, prefer to have a timestamp. It makes the work of the reviewing team easier, and it will be looked into, and this person will be warned. Now I think this is about it. What really matters when you join some PvP matches. So these are the basics. I will also put a link to the code of conduct down below. You should definitely read it before starting, and I hope you have a beautiful time playing the game. Bye bye, and see you, well, in the next video.